Hey guys, this is Mr. H and this is question number 17 from the June 2025 Regents Algebra 1 Regents exam. Now, I have a strategy for these kinds of questions. Unfortunately, when we were reviewing, I didn't go over this in much detail. But the strategy is, and it's not perfect, but it is very powerful and it will definitely help you in a lot of examples. So I'm going to go to it because I want you to see it. All right, so I need this. All right, here's what it's called. I called this strategy 10. I said when you're solving word problems, check to see if the domain makes sense. And what I meant by that is if you're given a word problem and once you solve for whatever the x is, check it to make sure it makes sense, right? Like, and I'm going to explain exactly what I mean by using this. All right, so I'm going to go to the question and I'm going to read it and then we're just going to have a conversation first. So it says the sum of Tim's age and Jack's age is 44. So if you add those two guys together, you get a total of 44. And it says Tim's age is 4 less than 7 times Jack's age, which is X. So Jack's age is X, and Tim is 4 less than 7 times Jack's age. So now, if you know how to convert these algebraically, it's not a big deal. But if you don't know how to convert these, and a lot of students struggle with the 4 less than 7 times this, that's okay. But you can still answer this question. It's in the multiple choice section. So, but what I'm saying is go ahead and solve for X. And once you solve for X, just see if it makes sense. For instance, if I solve for X and I got a negative number, we know that Jack's age can't be negative. So we can cross that out. Whatever equation that gave us that solution, we could cross it out. So now all I did now I'm going to go to the calculator because you guys know that's the other thing that I like to use. So if I go to the calculator, I went through and I solved for each one of these. So this is let's see, is this the first one? Here's the first one. So when I entered this equation and I did menu 51, it said that Jack's age was 6. Okay. Now that's reasonable. In fact, that's the answer, but I'm going to keep going. So if you go to the second one, it gives you this negative 6.66667 for Jack's age. Now you know it cannot be negative. It can't be, his age can't be negative. We don't have negative ages. And usually when we're talking about ages, even though you can say he is 7.5 years old, most of the time we only talk in integers when we're talking about ages, right? You rarely hear. Sometimes you'll hear some kids go, I'm almost 12, I'm 11 and 11, I'm 11 and 11 twelfths. But most of the time they don't. They say I'm 11, they say I'm 12. They don't use decimals. So anything that's negative isn't going to work. And also anything that's a decimal probably isn't going to work either. So we can go to the answer sheet and we can eliminate number 2 because that doesn't make sense. Eliminate that. All right, so let's look at number 3. Once we solve for number 3, we get 6.857. Again, even though that's possible, most people don't put ages with decimals or fractions. We just say I'm 6 or I'm 7. They don't say 6.666. They don't do that. All right. So I'm going to go there. And based on that reasoning, I'm going to cross this one off too. Now, let's go look at the last one. The last one, when I solve that, I get a negative 5.7. So that's a negative number. So I know that makes no sense. So I can go and I can cross that out too. So that only leaves choice number 1. Now, so that's the answer. That's the only one where the domain makes sense, right? But if you want to check it, you can just do that. So they say if Jack's age is 6, and if you multiply that times 7, that's going to be 42. And that means that Tim's age is 4 less than that. So that means Tim is 38. So if we take Tim's age, which is 38, and Jack's age, which is 6, 38 plus 6 is 44. So we've checked it, right? But even if we couldn't do that, we could still, again, my rule is this. In the multiple choice section, if you got a word problem, just check the domain and make sure that it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, then you can cross that out. A lot of students look at these questions and they go like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. But you do know how to solve these very basic equations. And once you solve them, if the x doesn't make sense, then you can cross that out. All right. Now, I hope I don't think many of my students got this question, but it's definitely one that if you guys looked at the rules that I gave you, the top 10 multiple choice strategies, and you used them, you could have gotten that question pretty easily. All right, I'm going to stop and I'm going to post this.